next guest fights for the interim UFC middleweight title this Saturday at UFC 221. He's going to be taking on Yoel Romero. It is Luke Rockhold joining me here on the program for the very first time. Luke, how are you?
Doing well. Just cruising around Perth, relaxing.
I wanted to start first with the fact that you had this change in opponent. When Robert Whitaker was out of this fight, were you worried at all that there was going to be no fight, that no one would step up to the plate and fight you?
No.
Okay. So you're pretty confident.
I assumed there would be a delay, and I assumed I would have most likely Yoel.
And have you had to change much with the fact that now you're fighting Yoel instead of fighting Robert Whitaker?
I haven't seen anything really. Maybe a little more offensive wrestling, a little defensive wrestling. Yoel is a similar style matchup, an explosive, powerful striker. He's obviously got the offensive wrestling, so we'll see if he wants to use that or not. I'm confident in my ground game with anybody in the world, and so I don't believe many people want to go there. So just being sharp, being precise, being patient, being quick, and having sharp feet.
And how much of a factor you think it's going to be that he hasn't fought since July? I know you had a bit of a layoff before your last fight, but he hasn't fought since July heading into this matchup.
Yeah, I'm sure he's fine. Yoel doesn't seem to age.
It's true. that is very true, actually. Now, your mainstay as far as training camps has usually been an American Kickboxing Academy, but I know you recently switched over to Hard Knocks and training in Florida under Henry Hooft. How did that sort of come together with you making that decision to go and train in Florida?
I've been training back and forth with Hooft and the guys here, Greg and Tommy, for years. And it was just, things are slowing down back home. Everyone is out. DC is doing TV, and he's always with his family. He's never fighting anymore. And Kane's injured. He's pretty much, he was retired for a while. And Khabib's always back in Russia, so I can't just sit there and not having all the high-end training partners to feed off. Things slowed down. I was getting too stagnant, getting too comfortable, stuck in my hometown area. I needed to get away. I needed to change. I love my team, and I still go back and I dabble at times, but it's healthier for me to be out in Florida. The team, everyone compliments each other so nicely out there. It's an inspiring place to be. There's a lot of young, hungry talent.
Yeah, there certainly is at Hard Knocks for sure. I was going to ask you though, a lot of people make it a big deal out of when DC won his last fight. He gave a shout out to a lot of his teammates, but he didn't include you in that speech. It's safe to say everything is still good at American Kickboxing Academy as far as your relationship with them.
I think DC spoke on that at a press conference following, and he spoke to exactly how he feels. It's the thing. They were there, on the way to the cage, hugging him. Your mind is. Pretty singular at times when you're in that cage, in that octagon. You miss a lot of things. So DC and me, we talk every day. He just FaceTimed me a second ago.
Good stuff. That's great. Now, as far as Hard Knocks, who have been some of your main training partners for this camp, helping you get ready for Yoel Romero?
We got great guys. There's always a mix of different people coming in and out. Luke Vincente was in with us, of course. Guzman, the Italian 85. I'm blanking on his name right now. Italian 85 pounder. Yeah, Andre was there with me. Andre Fior, my buddy, 70 pounder in Bellator, really tough kid. Logan Storley, wrestling wise, he's unmatched. 170. So a lot of good, quicker guys. I ended up using a lot of good 70 pounders. They're faster, they're quicker, and they make you work. I have a harder time with those guys more so than I do most bigger guys. So just being sharp, being quick, scrambling well. That's been the focus. I've got some bigger guys I can work with, but the bigger they are, the easier they are.
I'm up here in Canada, and I got to ask a Canadian question here. There's a coach that you have on your team in Evan Boris. Do you get to work with him at all? Because I know Evan's been kind of like a secret weapon at Hard Knocks.
Evan's a good guy. I've been working with Evan. He's nice to have him on board.
It's good. How's the weight cut going? Getting down to 185, especially with the long travel time.
It's good. I'm decompressing. The weight's on track. Everything's pretty much ahead of schedule. I'm fine tuning. Everything's perfect.
And did it take you long to get adjusted to the time and everything like that, you know, coming from the States and going to Perth?
Not too bad. You know, definitely you hold water, you get a little bloated from the flight, but I've decompressed and I'm feeling really good today. Finally getting perfect. I fought here in Sydney before, and so I know how long it takes. I was a day or two short last time, and I added that on to this, and it's perfect.
How do you see this fight sort of playing out on Saturday at UFC 221?
You never know what to expect with Yoel Romero, right? I think he's going to be elusive, unpredictable, and I have to make him pay. I have to pull the trigger, and I have to shut him down and open him up in every way. So we'll see. We'll see how long it lasts. You know, I think I'm gonna let Yoel Romero decide when this fight gets finished. You know, he's gonna come forward. I welcome his energy. I want him to come at me. You know, if he explodes early, he could get caught. You know, and or if we get into scrambles, I could get on top. I could finish him there. If he lets me kind of take the pace, then I'm gonna make him pay there. I'm gonna start taking his weapons away little by little. I can fight this fight at any pace. I'm just gonna be relaxed. I'm gonna be patient. I'm gonna read my opponent. I'm gonna find his timing, and then I'm gonna put him away.
Excellent. Who's gonna be in your corner for this fight?
Greg Jones, Javier Mendez, Bob Cook, and Henry Hooft.
Great. Are you disappointed at all that you're probably not ever going to fight Michael Bisping again, because he's lost 2 in a row, and I mean, you're fighting for the title now. I don't think the stars are going to align on a trilogy fight.
Yeah, I don't see it happening, really. I don't see it. Michael, I didn't see it happening the moment he snuck away with the victory. I think he was hightailing it out from the start. I chased it for a minute, and of course I wanted it, but it's nothing. It's not on my radar anymore these days. It is what it is.
Fair enough. What did you get up to on the plane on the way down here? Are you listening to podcasts? Are you reading a book? Are you listening to music? What would I find you doing on the airplane?
I read a little bit, watch some movies, podcasts. You know, I'm not really in podcast mode right now. I don't need to fill my head with other information. I want to be singular focused. I'm a fan of podcasts, but at the time I'm not trying to pull a million different informations. I'm not trying to overthink the situation or distract myself too much. You know, I'm just trying to relax, focus when I need to on the game plan, and focus on my weight. And,
for sure. And any good books you're reading right now?
Visualize. I'm reading just about to finish Elon right now, actually. Very inspiring text.
Well, Luke, I want to thank you so much for joining me here on the show. And yeah, thanks again for the time, and best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you. Enjoy.
What's up, fight fans? If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to see even more interviews with your favorite UFC and Bellator fighters. We've also got coverage at events, including post-fight press conferences and media scrums. And if you like this video, check out the video to my right. It's worth your time.